Today I am going to discuss about impact of activities in mathematics classroom at higher secondary stage. Objective. According to the vision of NCF 2005, the life of child at school must be linked to his life outside the school. Textbooks should not be the sole basis of examination. Other resources, sites of learning should be an integral part of learning process. Given space, time and freedom, children will generate new knowledge by engaging with the formation passed on to them. If we perceive and treat a child as a participant in learning process, not as a receiver of fixed body of knowledge, teaching of mathematics can be made effective by applying activity-based methods. Teaching should be done so as to reach every child sitting in the class. A proper guidance and well-directed process should be used for the teaching purpose so as to make the learning of mathematics more effective and easily capturable by the students. The aim of teaching mathematics should be based on the concrete understanding of the subject and its various forms, and then use this concept for problem-solving purpose. Mathematics is an abstract and deductive in nature, and that is why it is considered as difficult. Teaching is the help, the guidance provided by teacher to the students. Whenever this guidance is not in tune with the students, teaching becomes difficult. Here, our aim is to minimize this difficulty level to the least by combining demonstration and activity method along with the use of audio-visual aids. Abstract concept can be made concrete. Methodology. The traditional and innovative methods were used and students were examined, evaluated for the successful delivery of the lesson. The two homogeneous sections of the class 11th were taught using the above two methods. In one section, traditional method was used and which was named as section A, and the section B was the one in which we used innovative methods. Traditional teaching method. In the classroom, generally a teacher transmits the knowledge to the students. It is the ability of delivering the knowledge that can transform the life of various students. He is responsible for the motivation and directing the student to capture the knowledge transferred by him. Traditional method of teaching generally involve the lecture method with the help of chalk and talk. It is the most commonly used method adopted by the teacher in delivering his lesson. We taught the topic conic section to the section class 11th A by lecture method using chalk and talk. Period 1. After drawing the diagram of double-lapped cone on the blackboard, students were told how we obtain various curves of parabola, ellipse, circle and hyperbola by cutting the cone with a plane at different angles. At the end of the lesson, the students were asked to redraw the diagram of the curves obtained and to find out some applications of these curves in the day-to-day life. Period 2. The concept was introduced algebraically using the general quadratic equation in two variables. Students were explained that various curves can be obtained using the concept of locus. Concept of eccentricity was also introduced. Period 3. In this period, general equation of the circle with center h, k and radius r was explained to the students. Students were explained how to form the equation of the circle under given conditions. After some illustrations, students were allowed to complete the exercise given in NCERT book. Period 4. Doubts of the students from the topic circle were taken and the next topic parabola was introduced in the general form. Various properties of all four types of standard parabolas were explained using the diagrams. Then some examples were explained to the students for finding the locus, equation of axis, equation of directrix, etc. related to the parabolas. Then the students were asked to complete the exercise and find out some application of the parabolas from their surrounding. Period 5. Concept of parabola was revised with the students and their doubts were cleared. Then the concept of ellipse was introduced and all properties of ellipse were explained to the students using the diagram. Some questions related to standard equation of ellipse were discussed with the students. Then the students were called on the blackboard to do few questions and some assignments were given to the students. They were also asked to find out the significance of planet having elliptical path. Period 6. The doubts related to ellipse were discussed and the concept of hyperbola was introduced. The properties of hyperbola were discussed using the diagram and the question related to hyperbola were discussed. Then students were called on blackboard to solve some question. Assignment from NCERT textbook was given to the students. Innovative method. Period 1. After drawing the diagram of double-napped cone on the blackboard, students were told how we obtain various curves of parabola, ellipse, circle and hyperbola by cutting the cone with plane at different angles. Then students were shown the PowerPoint presentation and animation of obtaining the various curves by cutting the cone by a plane at various angles using crayon in the classroom. At the end of the activity, students were asked to redraw the diagram of the curve obtained and to find out some application of the curves in day-to-day life. Period 2. The students were taken to math lab and were given first-hand experience of cutting the cone. Teacher demonstrated that different conic section can be obtained from a circular cone by a plane. The shapes of these sections depends on the position of cutting plane. Students faced great difficulty in imagining these shapes and attaching themselves with the concept. To overcome the problem, we demonstrated how to obtain the shape of various curves by using the concrete right circular cone. A cone model made up of dough and cutter used to work as plane. First, the teacher demonstrated the cutting of cone at various angles and then students were asked to follow it. Students were divided in a group of 2 and each group provided with a cone made up of dough and cutter. Then they were asked to perform the activity and repeat the same at different angles to obtain different curves. One of the students was doing the activity while the second student was noting down the observations. Students were asked to perform the same at home using fruits and vegetables which are in conic shapes naturally like carrots and beetroots. This is the activity going on in the math lab. Students are performing the activity. Here the teacher is explaining the concept. Period 3. In this period, the concept was introduced algebraically. Period 4. In this period, the traditional method, parabola, was introduced to the students. Some of the application of parabola in daily life, a bridge, hanging bridge, and another is a satellites capturing antenna. These are the application of hyperbola. This is a McDonald planetarium in St. Louis Science Center in the form of hyperbola, and this is the cooling tower of a nuclear plant. Here, students are trying to trace the curves using the definition of locus. They are replicating this definition in the ground using a rope and sand. In the period 5, ellipse was introduced in algebraic method. The question was asked to the students, why are the foci of the ellipse important? St. Paul's Cathedral in London, if a person whispers near one focus, he can be heard at the other focus, although he cannot be heard at many places in between. Students were asked to find out the reason behind this property. This is the cathedral. The 6th period, hyperbola was introduced in algebraic method. Thus, in period 7, the students were taken to interactive room and explained the concept using the software GeoGebra. Then the students were asked to draw the graph of various curves on computer using the software to verify and note down their observations. Students were taken to ground, do an activity to understand the locus of various conic sections. After the completion of lesson, students were given assessment test to evaluate their achievement and understanding of the concept. This is the assignment test. This is the same test. Class activity. Students of both the sections were divided in the group of 4 and given activity to make rangoli using at least 4 curves obtained from conic section. These are 2 rangolis I have taken for the purpose of. This rangoli contain more artistic impression and this rangoli contain the conic section in a very prominent way. Observations. Success in learning mathematics depend to a great extent on the power of attention and concentration. By making a child learn by doing and relating abstract concept of mathematics to daily life, we can make a concept interesting and child gets attached to it. In turn, self-motivating him to explore it further and deeper. When students were involved in hands-on activity in mathematics laboratory, it was observed that they were easily connected to the concept and realized its real-life significance. While they were watching the animation of the conic section, the properties of conic sections were easily understood by them. After completing the activity, when concept was explained mathematically to the students in the class, it was observed that students were very keen to know more about these curves, their application, and came up with many queries. Through the body posture like upright position, blinking of eyes and shifting of body posture, it was evident that students were keen and eager to know more and were attentive to the lecture. They were able to paraphrase their understanding of the concept. The congruency between their verbal and non-verbal communication was evident. When math lab activity was going on, there were students who did not have high spatial ability were very excited when they were observed different curves obtained by cutting the cones. Those who were high in spatial ability were enriched by the animation of cutting the cones shown in the class. After the assessment test, it was observed that the section taught through activity-based method could understand and apply the concept more effectively than those who were taught by traditional method. Same observation was noticed when two sections were engaged in class activity of making rangoli. Conclusion. In chalk and talk method, a child is a mere recipient of information. It is unidirectional flow of information. To make a child active participant in the process of learning mathematics, he needs to be involved. Today is an era of information technology, new schools and curriculum being introduced that require no books and bags. To make pace with time, we need to use the handy tools of IT like GeoGebra in the classroom. GeoGebra is the wonderful tool which can help in explaining various concepts of mathematics, though activity-based method is time-consuming but rewarding in the sense that we could engage whole class in understanding the concept and make them understand its real-life significance. These are the reflection of the students. This is the result of assessment test of section B taught through innovative method. This is the result of assessment test of section A taught in traditional method. References. Thank you.